All right, you sit there, and I'll sit there. Ready? On 3. Ready?
Break.
We got to find a way to do these videos without a huddle.
Yeah,
this is it just
It
takes
takes
too much
too long?
time.
it's a no huddle video.
All right, you sit there, and I'll sit here.
Okay. Way to call the audible.
And welcome into the Sporting News Studios. I'm Tom Vandervoort. That's Stephen Levine over there. Matt Crossman, senior writer or some kind of writer. Are you senior writer?
Are you giving me a promotion?
Yeah, I'm giving you a promotion
You're just a writer.
right here.
You're just a writer.
Yeah,
You're a writer who's writing about the no-huddle offense in the National Football League.
I am.
We see a lot more no-huddle now than we did certainly in years past. Obviously, you run that when you're behind. It's the last couple minutes of the half or the game. But we're seeing it a lot more now. And what did you find out?
Yeah, we are seeing a lot more of it. You know, typically the no-huddle offense is only run in, like you said, the last 2 minutes of either the first half or the game. But at least half of the teams in the NFL have run it at least a little bit in non-no-huddle situations, which is a big change. That's been coming for a few years, I would say, but it's it's sort of coming to a head this year, certainly relative to maybe 5 or 10 years ago.
Is it more widespread now? I mean, it seemed like I remember Jim Kelly in the 90s, the K-gun and all that. It seemed like very select teams would use this, but now it feels like part of every team's arsenal.
Yeah, it's not every team, but certainly at least half and maybe a little more than that are running it in reasons where they normally wouldn't.
You know, I can't help but think back to the Oregon Ducks last season and holding up the pictures and the images to call in the plays from the sideline and not using the huddle. How much is the college game leading the way on this?
Yeah, a lot. And the college football is using it even more relative to the NFL this year. It's some analysts have told me that it's blown up at the college level this year, and so you'd expect that to trickle up because the NFL gets its players from college, obviously, and if those players already know how to run it and are already adept at it, then obviously I would think this trend is going to continue, if not increase.
Well, we've seen a lot of defenses these days really trying to disguise their coverage, moving guys around. Is this a way for offenses to kind of counter that and start to confuse the defense?
It is because the team can get up to the line and look at the defense and then call a play based on what they see there. And I was watching the Falcons game this weekend, and if you watch the way Matt Ryan runs the no-huddle, he gets to the line, and it reminded me of like a waiter getting to a big table at a restaurant where he says, okay, what do you want, what do you want, what do you want? And he goes and talks to each, almost talks individually to everybody on the line. And when you can do it that quickly, I mean, what's the point of a huddle? If you can call a play at the line directly related to what you're seeing on the defense as opposed to in the huddle and guessing what the defense is going to do.
Because you're giving the defense less time to make adjustments, make substitutions. But don't you also, while you're confusing the defense, run the risk of confusing yourself?
You do. You do. And some of the, not all of them, but most of the no-huddle offenses are going to be at least a little bit simpler because there's only so much complexity that Matt Ryan in talking to each person, if the play has 15 words in it, which they often do, he can't repeat that 10 times. So yeah, the offense is going to be a little simpler, but that's been a trend too. That like we talked with the Steelers, and their no-huddle package contains about 80% of the regular offense. So that's a trend towards it being even more complex.
How much of a burden, though, does this put on the quarterback? We know it's a quarterback-centric league, and it feels like this is another step in that direction.
Yeah, it's got, it all depends on the quarterback's ability to look at the defense, figure out a play that would work against that, communicate that, and then execute it. So, yeah, not every quarterback can do that.
I mean, because in Peyton Manning's hands, it's a thing of beauty. And no disrespect to Curtis Painter, but that's not the same caliber player.
You're right. And the Colts are sort of an interesting example that some teams run the no-huddle to take advantage of their strengths. Like the Lions do it a lot because they've got Matthew Stafford, Calvin Johnson, and a tight end named Brandon Pettigrew who can play tight end or wide receiver. That causes problems for the defense. Then you got teams like the Seahawks who are running it really to almost hide their weaknesses because you don't think offense when you think Seahawks, but if you run the offense fast enough, you tire out the defense, that gives you an advantage. No, normally, the Colts have the player advantage when Manning is there. Now they don't, and they're still running it, but they're not doing it very well.
It shows like kind of a risk-reward situation here because obviously you run the no-huddle on your 3 and out, and that defense, we just got to the sideline, now we're back on the field again.
Yeah, it's in an interesting way the no-huddle affects the defense because the defense has to be ready to get back out on the field quickly because a 3 and out in no-huddle is a lot faster than a 3 and out in a typical offense.
Right. All right, very good. You'll want to read the article on sportingnews.com. Matt Crossman, Stephen Levine, I'm Tom Vandervoort. We'll see you next time.